Hi peaches, it's Shaaba. Welcome back to my channel and thank you for clicking on another video. How are you? I hope you're well. This has been a rough week. It's been stressy, it's been busy. Life is a roller coaster, you just gotta ride it. Let's dive into some assholes today. We're gonna see if we can give some advice to other people. Feel good about it, feel good about ourselves, and maybe learn something along the way. You up for it? Huge thanks to the wonderful members here on the Shaaba channel. If you too want to help create some of this content, suggest the posts to react to, help me choose my titles, then please do click the join button on how to become a member. Shout out to you, thank you, thank you. I feel like it's been a little while since we've done an Am I the Asshole post, so let's see how it goes. Let's take it easy. Am I the asshole for being upset at my family for giving me baby clothes for my birthday? 30-year-old woman, just had a baby a few months ago. Lots of people have been very generous with buying baby clothes. That's adorable, congratulations. I asked my family to stop because we had more than enough. We also get hand-me-downs, but some of my family insist on buying brand new stuff for us because they don't want my baby wearing just hand-me-downs. What's wrong with a good hand-me-down? Saves the environment, super duper cute, looks good on multiple babies. So it was my birthday a week ago and a few family members got me birthday gifts. One family member gave me a huge fancy gift bag and inside was all baby stuff. Bibs, clothes and soothers. Stuff I already had and didn't need more of. I guess I looked disappointed, so she made a comment about how rude it was. Or maybe you should be getting gifts that are intended for the actual birthday person and not the birthday person's dependent. Another family member sheepishly handed me another gift and it was another effing I love my mum type of onesie. I tried to act thankful. Good for you for trying, but some family members could tell I was upset. Several people told me I was ungrateful and selfish. And I should just appreciate what I've gotten, but I'm so upset. I feel like no one cares about me, just my daughter. When I told a friend about this, they said I'm an asshole for being jealous of my child, and I should just appreciate all the nice things that they got for my baby. Your friend is wrong. I'm sorry, babe, but you need to give yourself some props here. We're not even at the end of the story and I'm already giving out advice, but seriously, you are a mom. You have sacrificed a large portion of your life. You've not given up your life because your life is still yours, but you are bringing somebody new into the world. And guess what? That little squish has their own birthday. You have your own birthday too. So why on earth people are buying you things that aren't actually for you for your birthday? Would you go to someone's birthday party and bring them a chocolate cake because you know their partner likes chocolate cake? No, you get what they want because it's their birthday. Whereas, what? That doesn't make any sense. I didn't want anything extravagant this year. I'd have been happy with something from the thrift store as long as it was meant for me and not my child. I feel like some people use my birthday as an excuse to go baby shopping. I know everyone's excited for my baby and I love them more than anything, but it's like everyone's forgotten about me. Honestly, I don't think you're an asshole whatsoever, and I'm actually really grateful and proud that you're sharing this message and standing up for yourselves, because too often mums are given the narrative that you need to live life for this new person that you have pushed out of your little areas. Your life doesn't need to end, and everyone treating you this way is the exact kind of backwards-minded traditional bullcrap that you do not need to be putting up with. You are still your own person. You are not just a mum. You have your own hobbies, your own likes, your own clothing size, and you deserve to be celebrated too. So well done for standing up for yourself. Go find yourself a new friend or give this friend a little slap. Yes, it's adorable that you have a baby, and I'm so glad that you have people around you as well who are so happy to support your child, but you should also be supported. No assholes here, in my very humble opinion. Let's go and see what other people have to say. Not an asshole. It's your birthday, not your child's. Unless you specifically ask for baby clothes stuff, some people do, then they should be buying things for you, not your children. I'm sorry it sucked, but for all it's worth, I wish you a happy birthday and I hope you receive more support from your friends and family. Oh, that's so cute. Very true. And happy birthday. Someone else said, as a matter of fact, I often give my mum friends gift cards to stores that don't sell children's items because I want them to know that the gift card is for them, not the baby. I love that. Regardless of the other person's age, it's just plain rude. How can you buy gifts for someone else on someone's birthday and then call that person ungrateful for not being appreciative? What? Should we move on to another one? Am I the asshole for telling my brother and sister-in-law they were inconsiderate to announce their pregnancy because F my sister? Just putting a little trigger warning for miscarriage out here. I just saw that word pop up. Feel free to skip in the video about 5 minutes if you need to do that. My sister Dana just had a miscarriage less than 5 days ago, which is why I told Nina and Kevin they were insensitive. They're both 24. Just had a family dinner and we mainly spent the time confronting Dana as that's what the family dinner was mainly about. Oh, why are you confronting Dana? Do you mean comforting Dana? I hope you mean comforting Dana. But then Nina and Kevin said that they'd had an announcement to make. They were expecting their first baby and Dana immediately started crying. Once her husband calmed her down, I told them they were very inconsiderate to announce that, especially considering this event was about Dana, not them. I definitely think OP here meant comforting. Also, the wound is still so fresh, they definitely could have waited to announce or just not announced it when Dana was around. Not to mention that Nina is only 6 weeks pregnant, so she definitely could have waited to announce. Also, it's not ideal to announce pregnancy so early due to high risk of pregnancy. It's up to you when you choose to announce your baby, I totally appreciate that, like, contextually, this is not the place to do it. This is inconsiderate. But in terms of the whole 6-week thing, I think it really depends on you as a person and who you're telling. But I would absolutely be telling my immediately close loved ones probably a lot earlier than after the first trimester. Nina and Kevin told me that the world didn't revolve around Dana and that they had every right in the world to announce the pregnancy. I said yes, the world doesn't revolve around Dana, but it doesn't change the fact that they were still very inconsiderate to announce a pregnancy when they were legit comforting someone who just recently had a miscarriage. They ended up leaving after realising everyone was on my side and told us we were all toxic for being on Dana's side when they did nothing wrong. Nina and Kevin definitely could have waited at least another day to announce or to make another meeting to announce it instead of doing an event that wasn't about them. Am I the asshole? Ooh! You know, I totally see where this is coming from. Someone's just been a little bit short-sighted. They've just been so excited to share some news. Maybe they thought in some weird way this was actually going to help Dana. She's now going to be an auntie. Maybe they thought that would take her mind off of things. Maybe they weren't even thinking about that because having a baby is a really big deal, right? So if you're at an event with loads of loved ones and you want to say it, then I can totally see why you would say it. And then I can totally see why you would get defensive if people are like, why the hell did you bring this up now? Because that's not what you expect, right? You expect oh, congratulations, I'm so happy for you. I'm not at all saying that Nina and Kevin were right in saying what they did when they did, in announcing what they did when they did. I do think it was definitely insensitive, and OP, I don't think you were the asshole at all. I can just understand how with communication, you know, poor communication and a lack of insight, someone would get super defensive and be like, oh, well, I'm leaving, how dare you not give my news the attention and fanfare that it deserves. And I'm really hoping that Nina and Kevin can now go back, calm down and be like, Dana's comforting dinner was probably not the best time to sort of steal that limelight. And with any luck, if there's any justice in the world, they will come back and apologise. OP, you weren't the asshole. I appreciate you being thoughtful, standing up for Dana, especially if this was a dinner specifically to comfort Dana. I still would have waited probably multiple weeks and then I would have told Dana first. But what do you think? Let me know downstairs in the comments. What would you have done? WWPD, what would peaches do? Not the asshole, says somebody. The entire ordeal was organised to comfort Dana for her miscarriage, not for your brother and his wife to announce their pregnancy. Highly insensitive on their behalf. The world doesn't revolve around Dana, but at that time it did. You're so right. I definitely think that there are moments where we need to appreciate that this is their time. This is not your time to bring something up. And it goes the other way too. I did something with a friend recently and I was so happy for this person, and I was invited there to celebrate, and me and this other person that meant a lot to me, I'm trying to be really cryptic about this to not give away too much information, but we had lost in a very stark parallel what this person had just gained. It was tough. I'm not gonna lie, it was really tricky to sit there and spend hours in an environment that basically slapped me round the face with every single moment. It was difficult to celebrate. I could have removed myself from that situation, but I chose to stay because that moment wasn't about me. That moment was about them. And I feel like it's much easier to do in this situation with Kevin and Nina, where actually you're experiencing the euphoria, the high, and someone else is experiencing the dysphoria, the low. You should absolutely give them that space. During that moment, yeah, it's their world, this is Dana's world, and you're just living in it. So 2 non-arseholes today. What is the opposite of an arsehole? Can we find a term and then we can create some little badges that's like arsehole? It's probably just not an arsehole. Okay, am I the arsehole for not giving someone a second chance after he came out as gay? I have a group of friends who I've known since my late teens. I'm now in my early 30s. Most of them are straight. They've always known me as gay. I've never been in any doubt about it, and I've never really had to come out. There's a guy who's part of the friendship group who I wouldn't class as a friend. To be honest, he's always been quite unpleasant. I don't normally subscribe to the view that homophobic men are all secretly gay, but it definitely fits in this case. I've avoided spending time with him because I've been spending less time with the group in general, but when I was younger, he cycled between being very mean and jokingly hitting on me and getting inappropriate and grabby. We hooked up once when I was very drunk and in a rough place. He wasn't nice to me at all and it wasn't a good experience. As far as I know, he never told anyone and I didn't either. He's recently come out as gay. Everyone in the group seems to be surprised and they're being very supportive. The seems to be surprised is so shady. He contacted me directly wanting to talk about it, which I didn't particularly want to do. Fair. He didn't make any reference to how he acted in the past other than making a stupid joke about how shocked I must be. I saw him in a group over the weekend and I tried to politely brush him off. He very blatantly hit on me despite knowing I'm engaged. Ew. Which makes me think that coming out hasn't made him any less shitty. Apparently I hurt his feelings. Amongst the friendship group, there seems to have been an expectation that I'd be interested in supporting him now that he's come out. Of course, because all gay people need to congregate and be there for each other. All gay people are just cookie cutters of the same. Just like all brown people, all disabled people. No, you can be gay I'm still an asshole. To be honest, I'd really rather not have anything to do with him. Several of my friends think I should give him a second chance given how hard it has been being closeted. I'm sure it is, but I don't personally see this as an excuse. Am I being an asshole? One friend pointed out that I don't know what it's like being closeted, which is true. Obviously, I know I'm not obliged to spend time with someone if I don't want to, but I also don't want to be unfair to someone going through a difficult time in their life. Well, this is a large one to unpack. I also feel like it might be a little bit controversial. Let me know if you agree. But no, I don't think you are at all an asshole. You're right, you are not obliged to spend time with someone just because of a shared characteristic that you might have when that person's history has hurt you. It doesn't matter where that person was coming from in their hurt. If it was coming from a place of self-torture or denial, the fact is it may not be their fault, but it's still their problem that they're treating you that way, and therefore you do not have to accept or even forgive, especially if now he's still being quite shitty, hitting on you knowing that you are engaged. I wouldn't appreciate that. I can totally see why you wouldn't appreciate that. The other thing that I wanted to mention, because actually this is funny, it's come up as a theme twice now in real life, offline. You don't owe people in your journey anything. Sometimes it feels like you do. I think especially when we as creators share a lot of our story online and grow over a period of time, it can be really therapeutic in the moment to do that for yourself and simultaneously very helpful for other people, seeing what you're going through to be able to relate and go through something similar. However, when you're at like chapter 20 of your book and you're seeing someone start on chapter 1 or chapter 2, to think back about that particular place can be a really difficult thing to do. It can actually be quite traumatic, even for you. It can be quite a dark place. It might be something that shocks you and that you don't want to go back to. You don't have to. You don't owe anybody your advice. And I think especially because there are so many wonderful ways to connect now and so many wonderful communities that people can find where they can find people in the same chapter 1s and chapter 2s that they are in. If you're not in a position to reflect on that first chapter, there is no onus for you to do so. Does that make sense? And it's for that reason that I don't think you're an asshole. And again, it comes back to this whole, oh, but isn't that so selfish? You know, if you can help someone, why wouldn't you? Absolutely, you should be helping people as long as it doesn't come to a detriment to yourself. And if it's coming to a detriment to yourself, you are under no obligation to prioritize someone else's needs over your own. And you know what? A good friend wouldn't want you feeling that way. So if they're going through a difficult moment, especially if you've had some negative history that seems to not necessarily be evolving or improving in traits, then you don't have to be there for that person. They can find their own people, and then there also won't be this odd like sort of power dynamic where people are looking almost up to you to be like, oh, you are where I want to be, and then it creates like this sort of envy or jealousy or tension. It's an awkward thing, because one of the 4 reasons we affiliate in life is because of social comparison. It's what we do. It's what we're innately built to do. So it's inevitable that will happen, and it does take a lot out of you. That's my little PSA for the day. So no, I don't think you're an arsehole. We haven't had any arseholes today, have we? Should we see what other people think? Not the arsehole. He sounds like a horrible dude. Consent and respect are very important. You're not obligated to give him any time or attention, particularly since he seems to not respect your boundaries and has been unkind in the past. Very succinct. Someone else says, not the arsehole. Yes, coming out is tricky, but it's not a get out of jail free card. Regardless of what the dude was struggling with, he took it out on you, and he hasn't taken responsibility or offered a sincere apology. You know what? Even if he did offer a sincere apology, you don't need to accept it. It's okay to do things on your terms. I don't like the implication that there's some kind of non-closeted privilege you benefited from when precisely the opposite is what happened. You were a target because you were out. This is a gross attempt to reverse victim and attacker. That's so true. And do you know what else? You mentioned that your group of friends are straight, so you really shouldn't be taking advice from straight people about LGBT plus matters. They have no idea what they're talking about. And so trust your gut on this one. You're not the asshole. You're not immoral for not wanting to be there for someone who's not there for you. Okay, should we do one more? One final one. I feel like I need to make these videos longer because we only ever get through 3. Am I the asshole for being honest with my parents about my childhood? I, 24-year-old male, was poor growing up. We had to rough it throughout my childhood and teenage years. College was funded solely by scholarships and shitty part-time jobs. I don't hold any resentment towards my parents over this. Good. But it was hard at the time. I think I'd still be struggling now had things been different. I met my partner, 31-year-old male, during my sophomore year. I don't know what that means. What is sophomore? Somewhat adult? Uni or college? And we've been together for just under 5 years. His family was in the exact opposite financial situation as mine. He has an established position in his father's company. He has since we met and works remotely. The privilege is showing. That's wow. Since my graduation in May, we've spent almost the entire summer with his parents, sightseeing and bouncing around to their different vacation homes. It was such a wonderful wonderful experience. I never thought I'd experience something like that. The adjustment was easier than I expected. Not quite how I would have phrased it, but totally appreciate that this is a new sort of like culture shock for you. As we headed back home this week, we stopped by to visit my parents, 45-year-old female and 47-year-old male. So that means if you're 24 and she's 45, she had you when she was 21, which is quite a young age to have kids. Whilst there, I mentioned that this summer felt like what all the summer breaks of my childhood should have been, and how excited I was for the future when my partner and I have children and can give them this treatment. My mother apparently took incredible offence to what I'd said and said that they'd done the best they could for me as a child. I said that I never claimed any differently. The argument ended with us still not seeing eye to eye, and my husband and I made an earlier departure than we'd been planning on thanks to the tension in the house that remained. Am I the asshole? Right, what is it exactly that you said? I mentioned that this summer felt like what all the summer breaks of my childhood should have been. I think we found an asshole. I'm sorry, friend, but I do think, OP, this was a bit of an asshole move. Why am I thinking that? Why am I having a brain fart moment right now? You are totally within your right to feel a certain way about how you grew up and compare that to other people and want a different way of living for your kids. I get that. But here's the other thing. Saying it's what all your summer breaks should have been suggests that there is a right way and a wrong way, when the reality is there isn't. And judging by this post, there is no inclinations that your parents haven't treated you nicely. Do you know what I mean? Your mum took incredible offence, did the best that they could for you. You haven't disputed that. You just said that financially you were poor. If I was a mum that at the age of 21 had a kid, wasn't in a great financial position, and then gave them everything they possibly could, but sure, still had financial limitations, I too would be greatly offended if someone said that that's not the childhood that I should have had. Because saying should suggests that my love was not enough. Sure, you've now experienced this other side of living, the silver spoon side of living. I'm happy for you. If you enjoy that, that's great, but it's only because we're in this bullshit capitalist society that makes you think the silver spoon living is better than the other. And to like throw that back in your parents' face in this way does seem really privileged and obnoxious and a little bit assholey. I'm just saying, it's a little bit assholey. I would not be very happy if my child said that to me. I'd be like, boy, where are your values? I didn't raise you to be this way. For me, it's the word should have. It was what it could have been in an alternative living situation, should your family had had more money, but it wasn't, and that doesn't mean that yours was wrong. It was just different. As long as you were still given unconditional love, as long as you were still given a roof over your head, food on the table, do you know what I mean? Why can't I articulate it better than that? Let's see if other people can do a better job than I can. You are the asshole. Well, there you go. You can be honest about your childhood by saying you were poor. Saying my childhood should have been like this when your parents didn't choose to be poor is a huge asshole move. It was so easy to adjust. Someone please take the silver spoon out of OP's mouth. This is a very harsh way of putting it, but yeah, I agree. You are the asshole and ungrateful. Not everybody marries rich. Your parents loved you despite you draining their income, didn't they? Okay, now hang on a second. I appreciate that people don't like what OP has said, but we're not going to start saying that children drain your income. You should be putting that financial burden on children. Calm down. I'm sure they'd have a more lavish lifestyle without having to raise you, but they did the best they could for you. Damn, imagine treating your own parents like this. But you know what? Even though OP may be the asshole in this situation, there is a reason that OP came onto this forum and posted about it, right? They're not seeing eye to eye and they wanted to understand. And I'm really hoping that they've seen some of these results and were able to grow, because it's a really big move to even post on here in the first place. I'll be really honest. I grew up very poor. I didn't have a lot of money in either of my households or multiple households where I bounced around, and I live a different lifestyle now. I'm not on a poverty line. I wouldn't consider myself really poor. And I do realise I'm in an incredibly privileged position. I'm also so certain during that excitement of experiencing new things, especially the things that come with this job, I too probably sounded like a total asshole at some of these points. It's okay to feel like you're getting swept up in a moment. It's okay to be called out about it. The good comes from being able to learn from that call out and being like, hey, yeah, you're right. This is a sense of privilege that I am now experiencing. How can I use that for a force for good? And how can I make sure I'm not diminishing other people as a result? What's not okay is if you're being told that and then you just like totally disregard and start looking down at people just because they're in different financial situations to you, especially when those people in financial situations helped you, because it's not their fault at all that they're in the financial situation that they're in. 99.9% of the time, a very large contributing factor to why people are in worse financial positions compared to others is because the systems and societies of life had a limiting impact on their financial situations, which is why often people are the way that they are. It's just because we're stuck in a very unfair system. So yes, babe, you're an asshole, but you don't have to be, and I'm seeing the light in your assholiness that, you know, you're trying to expand your view. So Good on ya. I hope it works. Best of luck. Thank you so much, friends, for joining me on today's video. Did you agree with my decisions? Do give this video a thumbs up if you'd like to, subscribe if you'd like to see more, maybe check out that little join button to become a member, and I will catch you next time with another video. Be kind and have a great day. Bye.